Hello guys, I'm Kendrick. If you did not know that already, many of you watching this video might know who I am, and many of you might not. And if you don't know, hello and welcome to my channel. I am going to be talking about in this video particularly my PRK eye surgery that I got. This video is going to kind of be helpful for those who are kind of thinking about getting surgery. I'm not going to go into a lot of scientific or a lot of medical information, honestly, because I'm not a doctor. So any information that you get from this video is completely opinion based, and I would highly recommend you do your own research as well as talking to other individuals as well within those communities and those fields to get a bigger understanding of what it is that you want to do for your eye surgery. For me, I got my eyes done at a military base, so this is also for civilian and military people. For the civilians that are watching, I've also had like a pre-op done on the civilian side, so there's a little information that I can give in that as well. But everything else should be pretty much generalized and kind of the same process. It's gonna be a little different as far as like the steps leading up to my surgery because of the military, but besides that, everything else should be kind of the same, cut and dry. If you're new to the channel, hey, make sure you please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that alert notification button so that you can get notified whenever I drop a new video. Again, this is kind of a new channel for me, so I'm gonna try to do as much stuff as I can. It's gonna be random stuff from like vlogs to like informational videos, things of that nature, or even like reactions on this channel as well. There are, from what I understand, 3 types of surgeries. There might be 4 that you can get for your eyes. One of the oldest and most well-known is the PRK surgery. That surgery kind of creates this idea of cleaning the eyeball using a bristle brush and then kind of smoothing it out, and then a laser knocks off a bit of tissue from the eye. And that's how PRK is done. And then there also is like a bandage that's placed around your eyes. It's like a contact, almost if you wore contacts before, that's placed around the eye. But then we have LASIK. And then with LASIK, which is the more common known that most people hear, and like, yeah, I'm gonna get LASIK. I'm gonna try to get eye surgery, I'm gonna get LASIK. LASIK is done based with a laser that cuts around the cornea, and then there's like a flap that's created. Then there's another laser that kind of smoothens out a few things underneath that flap, and then the flap is replaced. And then the third one is called SMILE. I'm not 100% sure or remember how SMILE works, but I do believe that SMILE is done where there is kind of the same thing, a flap that's created, but then it's cut out surgically. Again, that one's a little bit newer as well. I don't know much about it, and I would highly recommend that you look into all 3 of those just to kind of get an idea of what those surgeries entail, some pros and cons of all of them, because there are a lot of pros and cons for each, because in any surgery you have, there's going to be pros and cons. All right, for this, I'm going to go into more of the pre-op side of things. My first civilian experience, and then after I go over my civilian experience, you can actually skip towards the end, because the rest is going to kind of be in the middle. It's going to be kind of military information for my military folks. So my civilian pre-op was done back in 2021, I believe. That's when I went and did it. It was for me to try to get LASIK, because that's what I knew, right? That's all I knew was LASIK, and that was like the best thing to get. When I went to the civilian, they told me like, hey, due to your cornea being too thin, we might not actually be able to do it. It just depends. We could do it, but then if we do it, you might not be able to get touch up, because sometimes with these surgeries, you need an additional touch up, and that can just happen later on in life, whether 2 years down the line, whether 5 years down the line, whether it's 15. Sometimes that can happen where your eye might regress and then they have to do another touch up. And sometimes it just doesn't happen at all. So don't let that discourage you or bother you in thinking that your eyes are going to turn back. It's not always the case. It's not always guaranteed that it's going to do that, but it's also not guaranteed that it's not going to do that. Fast forward now, I was able to do it. Same situation though. Your cornea doesn't really change, I think, that much from, either in thickness or in size. So I had the same type of situation, and since with the military, it's more of a free thing, you would want to follow the guidance of your surgeon, and they're gonna tell you, hey, whether you're eligible for this or not. They can tell you, hey, we might be able to do it as well, but they're gonna more likely lean towards another situation. Depends on your eye health. So for my military people, how did I get this service? Wonderful service, free service for us military members. Well, first off, you have to be active duty, but you can be guard or reserve to get it as well. But there's some caveats, and I'll have to explain that a little bit past this. So it's an active duty program. It's called the Warfighter Refractive Eye Surgery Program. I believe that's exactly what it's called. If not, don't quote me, but you can probably Google it. The program was created, from my understanding, to help for combat readiness, mainly for individuals like security forces, special forces. It stemmed from that because a lot of them were in like the desert area, or the sand area where, wearing glasses or wearing contacts can really mess with the eye. So this program was kind of created for that, and then it kind of branched out for others in other occupations as well. I'm a maintainer, so I kind of still need my eyes to do the things that I do. For my National Guard and Reserve people, I know you're wondering, like, how the heck did you get it if you're, Guard? Well, for me, there's two ways you can get it. Either one, you serve on some active duty orders, and I think they have to be at least 12 months. Don't quote me, but I believe that's what it has to be. If you're serving on those orders, then you can get the surgery done because technically you're on active orders. Or the second way is being AGR, your active guard reserve. And a lot of the active duty benefits that active duty has, AGRs receive as well. Some pros and cons with that as well. So going into it, how did I go about the process? So Air Force, Army, Marine, and Navy all can take advantage of this program. I don't think you have to go to a specific base based on your branch. However, for me personally, the most closest active duty base was an Air Force base, so that's why I went to Wright-Patterson. That's where I got my eyes done at. But I know there's other naval bases, Air Force bases, Army bases that anyone can go to. But you have to see if that particular base has the setup in that program within their medical group. As far as information for that, I would highly recommend just kind of do a Google search. And if you know a few different active duty bases, kind of look them up. I tried to do it with Air Force and it was really hard to find a list. I couldn't even really get a list anymore because a lot of the links just didn't work or there wasn't anything. I kind of just did my own research and kind of seen like, oh yeah, I know what that active duty base is, and oh yeah, I know where it is. I can go there. It's close enough for me, and that's how I went about getting mine done. As I was saying before, it's an active duty program, and for those members, if you're traveling a long ways, like for me, it was a 2.5 hour drive. Some offer what's called Fisher houses. These Fisher houses are used and are made for people undergoing medical surgeries or undergoing medical recovery, and I do believe it's free of charge to stay at those places, and I say it's great. That's actually where I stayed for about the week duration that I was in Ohio, and I would say staff was fantastic. The house was clean. I would highly recommend anybody that can do a Fisher's house, please do a Fisher's house. And I believe, I don't know if it's a VA program, but I do know a lot of it's ran off of donations and funding that they get. So 100%, 10 out of 10, I would highly recommend anyone stay at the Fisher house. At least the one I stayed at. With that process, you contact the particular medical group. Typically there's like a page. When you Google search it and you find the active duty base, they usually have a page in regards to the program. You find it, you contact the person, whether it's by phone number, whether it's by email. You kind of just reach out to them and say, hey, I'm interested in this. How do I go about the process? They usually send you a bunch of documentation that you have to do and fill out. A lot of it is very important, so please read it. And I know one form actually has to be filled out by a commander. If you're getting closer to that time where you might be getting out, get on it sooner rather than later. I do know, like I said, I think of the date of surgery, you have to have 6 months left on your contract for Air Force. I don't know about the other branches. I do know that there are different times for each of the branches. Once you get all that done, they typically try to schedule you for a pre-op. You'll come in for that pre-op whenever for the day you schedule it, and that's just them kind of testing your eyes, taking computerized pictures of your eyes to ensure that they can make sure that they can do the eye surgery on you. Typically after the pre-op, they'll give you more documentation and stuff to fill out, and then depends on if you're going to be staying at a Fisher's house or if you're not, but there are documentations that you have to sign before you actually go for a briefing. And this briefing is kind of going over some of the different surgeries, as well as some pros and cons, some risks of the surgery. And then that surgeon will sit up with you one-on-one and kind of talk to you about the things that you need to know and give you an option of which surgery you would like to pick. So if you made it this far, that means it's either civilian or military that's watching this part at this point. This is more so just my experiences. I'll kind of go a little bit the beginning and then the end of how everything worked out for me. So for me, I had to travel all the way there. I was able to go over to the surgery briefing and then sit down with a officer, and then they talk to the group about the different pros and cons of the surgery. My cornea was too thin, so I picked PRK. Again, I could have tried to go the LASIK route, but just the idea of possibly knowing that I'll need an updated vision and not being able to get it, I just chose not to do that route and just go PRK. And yes, out of all of them, PRK has a longer recovery period. So then after that, I kind of got ready. The next day was the operation. So you go in and you're taking it to this pre-op room, and in this pre-op room, they give you some numbing drops, and then they give you a little time for your eyes to go numb. At that point, once they're all set up and ready in the operation room, they have you lay down, and once you lay down, they give you a little bit more numbing drops, and you're on this machine at this point. They put something over your eye, and it's kind of scary at this point because this eye is already blurry, and I'm like, okay, it's really happening. This is about to get started. So they take this little bristle brush and they just put it over the eye, and it kind of just sits there and spins, but you don't feel it. And after that, they kind of just comb down. They just layer your eyeball with this thing, and then after that, the laser comes down. You have to stare into this light, and then after you stare into the light, you can just hear the laser do its thing, kind of see it go over your eye, and then you also smell like burning smell. It's almost like similar to like burning hair. After that, they will rinse out the eye, drop a few more drops in, and then they put like this clear contact bandage over it. And then they do the next thing to your next eye. You also wear these interesting looking sunglasses as well. They give you like this kind of cool looking carrying case, and you're supposed to wear those. And that's like up to a year. That's just to prevent your eyes from getting exposed to any type of radiation. And whenever you're outside after the surgery, day 1, you don't do anything. You're not supposed to open your eyes. From there, I kind of just laid in bed all day. I played podcasts, played music, depends on the situation. My eyes were still kind of numb, so I really didn't feel pain. I did feel a little bit of pain in my left eye starting out right after the surgery. So day 1 kind of consisted of you just laying in bed all day. First and second days too, honestly, was a bit of the same. My eyes got a little bit better. They were still extremely sensitive to light, so any type of light made my eyes hurt really, really bad. So like I said, you just kind of walk around with your eyes closed a little bit, and then you kind of open them just to see where you're going. For me, overall, the pain was bad, but I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people say it is. And again, everyone has different tolerance levels to pain, and I can't say because I wasn't as in much pain as the next person that person truly wasn't in pain. If I had to explain what it felt like someone was taking their thumbs and just pushing on your eyeballs, and then each day just got worse and worse. Pain scale, I'd say like 7 out of 10, but as I've mentioned before, as long as you're like pretty used to pain, or if you kind of know it and expect it, and like I said, I kind of expected it with this eye, it got a little bit better. Moving forward, as I said, you go back in. For me, the military, they actually make you stay in the area all the way up until your morning appointment on Monday. On that Monday appointment, you go back in, you sit down with the surgeon, he just looks at your eyes, they have you read the letters off, and then you're good to go from there. If they need to make any adjustments, they will. I believe with LASIK, they have you come in actually the day after surgery because they just need to make sure that flap is good. For PRK, once you got it, you gotta just come back on Monday, and then after that Monday, they'll check, and then if your eyes are good, you're good to go. So overall, I would say my eyes are a lot better. I'm not gonna say that they're 100% right now, but as he told me, it's gonna take 6 to 8 weeks before I actually see 100% better. I'll say that the experience that I had was a very professional experience. It's been about like week 1. I'm going into week 2 as far as my eyes being the way they are now. So I can definitely see better than when I had glasses initially, and I just took off my glasses and would try to live without my glasses because everything without my glasses prior was very, very, very blurry. So yeah, if you're anything like me, these were my glasses prior, and actually I don't know if you'll be able to see them in the camera at all. It might mess up the focus, but my glasses are actually pretty thick, and these are actually the HD lenses that you can get for glasses. They're actually a lot thicker than these. So it's nice to be able to kind of see without wearing my glasses. And I actually can't even put my glasses on anymore. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and like I said, hit that notifications icon to get notifications whenever I upload videos. And again, if you have any questions about the surgery, I'll be more than welcome to answer any questions that you have in the comment section below. Until next time, peace out.